All right, welcome to another episode of The Game, where we look at hip hop not just to say what's good or bad, but look at it as how it reflects to black people all over the world, going into narratives that most people don't go in looking for deeper angles. And today we're going to go into somebody who's very controversial. A lot of people don't even think he's black, they say he's fake. We're talking about Drake. Not even black, fake, Drake. And we're going to talk about the only part of his album which makes any sense, which is the Iceman. So I'm here with Alex, who's in South Africa, and we're going to talk about his album. Alex, the first things I have to say is that he went back to the old formula where he went back to the type of stuff he does in Thank Me Later, where he uses that type of one line. I always put my feelings on the streets. I
Yeah.
always do this, that type of beat, which works for him. Simple rhymes, one liners. And he also went back to having 40, who's his 40 is always with him, but he's sticking very closely to 40's production, which always has ambient, sort of like water like atmosphere, but can go from
Yeah.
R&B to drill or whatever, but it always has that cool sort of electronic laid back flow. And he had other OVO people from Toronto who were with him also. So the beat is going back to the old Drake, which has atmospheric beats, but at the same time he's bringing in drill and trap, R&B, sounds like Kanye, but everything is rooted in the production which comes from Canada, which always has that sort of ambient feel like you're in a trance zone, which is very good. Um, if you notice in a lot of his albums, Drake is determining the beat and the rhythm, even though other people are rhyming. Whether he's rapping or he's doing call and response, he's driving the rhythm. And what we know from Drake, no matter what anybody says, they always say he's not real. Authentically, Drake has soul in his hip hop delivery, and he has good cadence. And Drake is one of the few rappers which producers like, because no matter what beat you do or when you switch beats, he does it excellently, which means he has great timing. Drake has great rhythmical timing. Now, this album made me a little bit sad because it reminded me of back in the days with Drake when he was talking about fireworks when he missed Rihanna and stuff. He got back to his vulnerable side, and he also still did a little of his bragging and stuff. But he got back to his vulnerable side, especially with the first track. And it reminded me of what hip hop used to be around 2010, where it wasn't drill and violence and drugs and shit. It was talking about your emotions and your feelings, sort of like what Kanye West did. So that gave me nostalgia,
Yeah.
and it also gave me nostalgia because he had the boom underlying every song is that boom bap classic hip hop beat, even when you go to drill and everything. So it was a great album. That's all I'll say. The only problem with the album is that unlike Thank Me Later, he's talking about when Rihanna broke up with him. He's talking about growing up in Toronto and stuff. So it's personal. Now it seems like he's just entering personas on this album. It's just a lot of different albums with 21 Savage and other people. And it doesn't seem to be a personal message. So it's just like an album in which a lot of people will be bumping the music during the summer, but there's no personal feeling. It's just like showing, oh, look how technically good I am. Look how many different types of rap styles I can do. Look how good my flow is. But to me, there it doesn't have that personal poetry in it. And I want to see Drake go back. Don't worry about your flow and everything. Tell us about your real life. Stop telling us about your beef with Kendrick Lamar or how, or he does this as an actor where he takes on the persona of a street person who has cred and everything. That's good, but get to some personal things where
Yeah.
you show the truth, like Pound Cake, his album before, where you show your true feelings and everything. That doesn't mean I'm dissing his album. I'm just saying that it's very good technically, shows his rhythm, shows he has soul, shows he has delivery, tight production, but it doesn't tell me a story. I would rather even hear poor production, but hear a story where I can feel you. What do you think, Alex? Yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, okay, my thoughts, I'm just glad he finally stopped trying to be the toughest guy in the room, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like for real, after all that crazy drama from the past couple of years, I thought we were just gonna get an hour of him screaming at his haters and throwing petty shots. But when you sit down and actually listen to it, it's like you finally realize his real superpower isn't acting like a gangster, you know? It's that
No.
late night, driving in the rain, emotional vibe, you know? And a huge
Yeah.
part of that, like you mentioned, is because 40 came back and handled the sound. So that was
Oh, yeah.
very
That was
good that they
fantastic.
reunited.
Yeah.
Very, very good. That was a good decision that they took. So like you know how some of these recent projects felt like a giant playlist where he's trying to jump on every single trend from around the
Yeah.
world. So this one felt different. Iceman felt different, you know, it's got that heavy, dark underwater atmosphere, but you know, he's mixing it with these cold digital beats that almost
Yeah.
sound like future or a
Yeah. Future.
weird slow down. vibe. Like it's just very chilled.
Yeah,
And it's just really chilled out, man. It's
but
definitely
also
gave me major throwbacks as well
yeah,
to
throwback,
his early
and
days.
also
Yeah.
he goes into the Atlanta sound of drill. But what he does is he doesn't go fully to drill. He makes drill come inside of that cold ambient sound that you're talking about. So he shows the rhythm, and
Yeah,
then you
it
get,
does.
and he goes back to his old style of rapping. Like I said, that I always talk to myself because I have feelings. That type of rhyme where you can tell he's having a conversation with you about his feelings. But and even when the
I
song
love
becomes
those
menacing,
tracks.
yeah, and when the song becomes menacing with that doom, 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 that sort of doom sound, there's still E40. I mean, there's still 40 keeping that chilled ambient sound. So to me, it was a good album. The only thing I would say is that, like you said, he moved away from trying to prove stuff, but I think he could still go closer to himself again and become more personal and poetic. But that's just an artistic criticism. I would say that right now
Yeah.
for mainline hip hop, I'm not talking about real hip hop, but for commercial hip hop, this is the best album this year that we've seen so far. What are your thoughts, LB? Yeah,
Uh, so to say, the
yeah,
track
go
that
ahead.
I know, right, and the
Yeah,
track that came out right now. Honestly, I would disagree with Alex when she says it's more personal. Drake is dissing everybody on that project. Honestly, Drake is coming from this beef that he had with Kendrick, where people actually turned against him instead of standing with him. Hence, I feel
yeah,
like this album is more personal because if you can listen to the first track, let's go for the first track,
okay,
Too Hard for Radio.
yeah,
It's just it even plays with these versatile styles, right? To show people that this is what I can do. And on that track, it's just saying that you know what, you don't understand me. You don't
yeah. But
understand me.
I
This
want
is
you to
who
stay
I
on point
am.
though because you're
But you're
challenging Alex.
contradicting yourself.
Yeah, because you're challenging him,
No,
or
I'm
you said that
saying,
he was
listen,
attacking
listen.
people, but you're actually
He
pointing
is
what you said. Yeah.
listen. This is what he is, right? But now because you turned against me, I'm telling you what I am. Because he starts dissing
Okay.
everybody from the first track.
Okay. So I'm gonna play in between. So here's the thing. In some of Drake's songs, he has very low key attacks on Kendrick Lamar, but they're very subtle. But the first track
Yeah.
on that album had nothing to do with Kendrick Lamar or anybody. He was talking about his
No,
feelings.
I'm
The
not
first,
talking about Kendrick. I'm not talking
no,
about
I'm talking
Kendrick
about Drake. You said
specifically.
that Drake was taking shots at people. And I'm saying that in the
Yes,
first song, he wasn't. But if you listen to the whole album, this is hip hop. There's no such thing as a hip hop album where you don't take shots at people. There's no such thing.
yeah.
No such thing.
Hence, hence,
No,
hence
but
I
what,
said,
what Alex said was that he moved away from that. That doesn't mean that he's 100% away from it. This album was not about beat. If to me, what this album, I'm going to take a different view from Alex. She said this album was about him going closer to his original sound, which is true. I'm going to say this album was more about Drake showing you that he can do different types of music. He did music that sounded like
yeah.
Kanye. He did music that sounded like his old music. He did drill, but
Yeah.
yeah. But my thing is that he didn't get personal. Of course, he did disses. Everybody in hip hop does diss because dissing is actually a playful part of hip hop. So, what are your thoughts, Helby? Yeah, yeah,
Yes, dissing is part of hip hop. Actually, I really like that part about Drake on this album. He
yeah.
took it
Okay.
back when everybody is going forward with the bowling kind of vibe and stuff. He took it back to remind us what is hip hop all about. Hip hop is all
Yeah, but
about
would you agree
competition.
also that it's not about balling anymore? It's about killing people, drill music and stuff. So that's what we're
Yeah,
trying to
drill,
say.
drill
He moved
music
away.
is all about
Yeah.
violence.
And also, trap music is about drugs and stuff. So what I'm saying is that Drake had a very good combination of music, but I would say
Yes.
mostly it wasn't about beef or anything. So tell us, what do you think about it from a critical point of view? Because I know you like underground rap. Yeah, yeah,
Um, I would say that Drake being in the game for 16 years, right?
yeah.
I expect maturity from him. I don't expect him to go around like instigating beef for nothing.
You
Like
say the same.
by this time, Drake should be a lesson to the youngins. He's
Okay, give
still
me
on
some
the
lines.
street.
Give me some lines in which he was instigating beef from the album.
Let me go for the track Femme Friends,
Yeah.
right? Femme Friends, he's talking about his life
What are the
and what he's
lines?
been through.
Yeah, yeah. I don't think
The
he's doing
line,
lines. I think you're generalizing, to be honest with you, man. I agree with you. Drake
uh,
took some shots at Kendrick Lamar, like in Atlanta. Let me give you an example. The song Atlanta, he was with Future. What Kendrick Lamar said is, they not like us. that hip hop started in Atlanta and all that, and you're not part of it. Drake and did it with Future to prove a point to Kendrick Lamar that before not with to prove to Kendrick Lamar that before Kendrick Lamar came, and we have to remember Drake is Kendrick Lamar's mentor, and Kendrick Lamar turned on Drake. That Drake was doing the Atlanta South. Da, 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 you know, Migos. Drake was the person who made Migos famous. So what Drake was showing you, you can't tell me I'm not part of the Atlanta community because I was the person who put Future and Lil Wayne, who's from New Orleans. It's because of Drake that we know Lil Wayne, that we know Future and those guys. And when Drake raps with those guys, tell me if I'm wrong, Kelby. When Drake raps with those guys, he switches the beat and the flow just as good as them. Am I lying?
He is that good.
Okay, so I'm giving you an example of how he was using beef at Kendrick, but it was in a positive way to say that you can't tell me I'm not black. Because in They Not Like Us, he was trying to tell Drake he's not black. Drake's dad is an African American. And I find it very bad. Just because Drake is a rich kid and all, oh, you're pretending. We all know that hip hop is pretend. It's all of those guys are not really street. Nas talks about the street, and they call him the best rapper. Nas' dad was a musician, and Nas was a rich kid. So my point being is, there's a little bit. What's her name? Nicki Minaj comes from a rich family, and she's a writer and an actor. Tupac was an actor. So my point being is that yes, he does do a little bit of beef, but I think beef is part of hip hop because remember, hip hop started that rather than gangsters kill each other, they dance and they out rap each other. So that part of rap you can never move away from. So when I think that you're saying that Drake should move away from that, I don't think so, because you can't give me one line that he said in there which promotes violence. It's playful beat. What do you have to say?
There is a lot of stuff.
All right, let's go back to Alex. What do you think, Alex? We'll come back to you. What do you think, Alex, in general? Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. You cannot stay away from beef. It's a hip hop. Like there'll be no. It keeps it interested. It keeps it alive. You know, like we definitely need this guy. um. Yeah, definitely. We need like beef to be part of hip hop, guys. Like you cannot stay away from that. I mean, it's Drake, you know,
Yeah.
and you cannot scrub the blood out of the hip hop. You know, it's a competitive sport at its core.
Yeah.
And Mustafa, you're 100% right. Like beef is literally woven into the DNA of the culture. So if Drake completely walked away from that battlefield, he loses a massive part of what makes him a rap giant. Let's be honest. But like, here's the genius part of what he's doing on Iceman. He isn't moving away from the beef, okay? But he's changing how he fights. Let's just say that, okay? Let's agree on that. He's changing the way how he is phrasing those petty shots. Like when you listen to tracks like Dust or Janice, the war is still very much alive, but the paranoia is there, the shots are there, and the sharp lines are there. But instead of trying to match the explosive street level anger of the Kendrick battle, he's filtering that aggressive through 40s cold atmospheric ambience beats, you know. It's like he realized standing in the middle of the street, shouting back just plays into everyone else's hands, you know. So instead he's delivering his shots with complete emotional stability. And
no, I get what you're saying. So what he's doing is he's making his beef introverted. So he's no longer attacking Kendrick Lamar saying you're useless. And look, Helby, here's his first album. I'm an only child. No one could have made another. I have to father my mother and treat my son's grandfather like my older brother. The skies are gray in Toronto. They are not golden color. I'm feeling the BTS because it's the whole career for me to be so discovered. I know for sure that my parents, they look at me and see me as an overcomer. That's the first lines of the whole album. And the name of the song is Make Me Cry. That's moving beyond just beef because he's talking about himself personally. Now, let me let you know me, Helby, I'm paranoid. I get angry at people quickly and everything, but I'm emotional. So what I'm trying to say is that this is how human beings are. So he's giving us perspective into his beef because he's come from a broken family. He had to be a father to his own mother. His dad left him and was a musician and everything else. And he lived in Toronto where there's a lot of black people who are in poor neighborhoods. And he came from a poor neighborhood also. So he's giving content, but it's not like he's coming out, fuck you, I'm gonna kill you. Kendrick Lamar just came out and said, you ain't like me, you're a pedophile, blah, blah. That's petty. That's petty. So I'm going to re-challenge you on that, Helby. He does have some things where he moves away, but I don't think you're giving enough weight to this album to look at all of the lyrics and what he says and see that he's being reflective. What do
Yeah.
you think?
Uh, I personally fell in love with the track "Don't Worry," right?
Okay, yeah, yeah,
Because that's where I could feel like that grown part of Drake. Like he made me relate to his life. I can
yeah,
see that he is a person beyond being an artist because of that track. Like nigga, you
yeah,
go through same shit that we go through every day, right?
yeah,
So when I look at the project, like there are three tracks that I would say that relates to him emotionally. The other
yeah,
tracks, he's burning bridges, he's dissing people. So I think it was more of a statement to make that album more than just an album. He was saying
yeah,
something with that album because coming as we know that he came from the beef with Kendrick Lamar, of which many people say that he lost, right? So I don't know how he feels about it, but the project was given out as a statement to say that I still have it. I still that's why he's playing with these versatile styles in almost every track. He's taking oh, a the whole hip hop makeup from 2000, where you started introducing trap, drill, trill, and this and this and that. He's playing with all those styles in the same album. Then he goes back to the old Drake. He goes back to the
yeah.
old Drake to say, "This is who I am." You understand? So it was
Alex,
more of a
he's actually
statement
agreeing
than
with
just
us
an
now, Alex.
album.
Go ahead, yeah.
Can you feel me?
So here's what I think. So let me tell you the truth. Everybody wanted
Yeah.
Drake to lose the battle with Kendrick Lamar because African Americans
Yeah.
don't like Drake. African Americans don't like him. So it's one of those things where when Kendrick Lamar's like, yeah, 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 to me it was fake. I believe Kendrick Lamar beat Drake by a little bit, but it wasn't an ass whipping. But I think people over exaggerated because let me tell you the truth, African Americans are envious of Drake because he is actually the most powerful hip hop. I'm not saying the best. Him and Kanye West are the most powerful hip hop influencers in the last 30 years. And when you listen to Drake's flow, would you agree with me? Drake has more soul than Kendrick Lamar. I'm not talking about lyricism.
Yeah.
He has more soul and is making African Americans sad because they see a white guy whose mother is Jewish and is from Canada, and he has more soul. I'm talking about Kendrick Drake's soul. When Drake is rapping, he's got flow. His flow is better than Kendrick Lamar's. His soul is better, and they're angry because they think he's appropriating their thing. But they forget the fact that Drake's father is Black American, and they also said he's from Canada, and that in Canada there's only Nigerians and Africans and people that they're not real. So what they're saying is that hip hop is only a Black American thing. Remember when they said that? They said, "Oh, he only hangs around Jamaicans and stuff. They ain't real." Do you see what I'm saying? So what I'm saying is that they promoted. I don't think they really felt. Let me give you an example. Nas beat Jay Z, but nobody wants to admit it because Jay Z is a rich Black guy, and they want to say Nas beat Jay Z. So what I'm saying is that people are over exaggerating the Drake versus Kendrick Lamar. I think Kendrick Lamar beat him, but I don't think it was disgraceful. I think that was during the years when Drake was not being himself. And in this album, and we'll go back to what I was telling you, Alex. Remember what I told you that Drake went back to himself, but I don't think he went back to himself enough. Do you get my point? So this
Yeah.
is the first step. He's moved back to boom bap hip hop, personal stuff, and of course he has some bragging albums. Oh me, you guys measure your dicks. You ain't as big as me. But that's childish shit that everybody says, which is okay. But I want to see Drake go to the level of Capital Steves and those guys, where you go down to who you really are. And who Drake is a rapper who has soul and rhythm. And also Drake is one of the best people at flowing between R&B and hip hop. And to me, there's no disgrace in that because hip hop is actually becoming R&B sport. Like you got Alex, that female singer, what's her name? SZA. SZA is an R&B
Yeah.
singer, but she can rap. Even Kendrick Lamar started rapping. What was this? If this house
Even
was
Doja
mine.
Cat.
Yeah, and Georgia, the distinction between the two are different. So there's a room in hip hop for people who can sing and rap and flow, and then there's a room for I know you like hardcore, Helby, people who are pure lyricists, but we shouldn't diss the people who are singers. So what I would say is that Drake's album is a good beginning because he's going back to his roots. He had tight production, and the dominant theme in all of his music was the beat that 40 uses, which is ambient and stuff, which doesn't allow drill or other things, even though they're coming in to override it. So I'll come back to you, Helby, but quickly, what are your last thoughts, Alex? Yeah. Good show, guys. I like it when we argue because that
Man,
means people will be watching this shit, man. Go ahead. Yeah. Yeah.
man, like my final thoughts. on this whole era is that Drake basically proved he's the ultimate survivalist in
Yes,
modern entertainment. If you
yes,
look at the macro picture, what he just pulled off is wild. He took the biggest, most damaging public defeat of his life, that Kendrick battle, something that would have completely derailed a normal artist's career. And he somehow
yeah,
used it as raw fuel. He didn't try to beat Kendrick in his own game. Instead, he leaned directly into what makes him, what makes him Drake. He dropped
yeah.
45 songs across three distinct lanes. He hooked up with 40 again, and he broke records. He broke Michael Jackson's records. He now the talks that there's a company that's offering him $2 billion for all his catalog, which is really crazy. So I don't know,
Drake,
like
yeah,
Drake
what's in our
is
show?
a
Give us
legend.
money. We are praising you, Drake. Give us money. I'm just kidding. Three albums in the top three, at one time. That's resilience.
Yeah,
I don't know what
it
Kendrick Lamar is
is.
doing right now. Yeah, it's resilience. What are your last thoughts, LB? This is going to continue. We'll do another
Uh,
aspect.
I,
We'll talk
I,
more about the albums on Thursday. Yeah,
I would say thank you to Drake for dropping Iceman
yeah,
because he has given us an album where each and every person can relate to something. Because on the album you have bass like Little Betty. He's going back to the old Drake that used to sing for the ladies. You've got your Dust where he's walking for
yeah,
the streets. You've got your Too Hard for Radio. That is the old school vibe. You understand? So he gave us an album that every person can relate to, either one song or two songs. So
yeah.
at this present moment where the industry is so congested with so much bullshit, man, at least Drake
It's a
gave
good
us
album.
something.
It's a
It's
good
a
album.
good album. For the current
But
industry, it's a very good album. It's unique. It's distinct from what we are getting from the
yeah.
mainstream nowadays.
Although
So
I'll
I'll
end by
say
saying he can
for
do
the
better. He
album,
can still
big
do
ups.
better though. Yeah, he can do better though.
As
Yeah.
case,
All right.
yeah,
Okay, so I guess we've covered everything. So we'll be back. You've got Hell B, and where are you right now, Hell B? Yeah.
that is Gauteng,
Houghton. Which
Everton
part of Houghton?
West.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Houghton West.
Everton West.
Everton West. I think Alex, you're in Mpumalanga or somewhere. Where are you? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in Pupalang.
Yeah, and I'm in Washington D.C. near to that maniac called not George, Donald Trump. But we're covering hip hop all over the globe. You're watching a hip hop channel which has guys from South Africa, guys from Nigeria, America, but we cover the whole Black diaspora. So we're going to be back on Thursday with part two of Drake. We'll talk more about Handmaiden or something else and go deeper into the lyrics. Okay, thank you, Alex and Helby. We're out. Okay,
Right. Yeah, she's
good show,
out.
guys. Okay, okay.